Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group Chat. We have a great episode today that I'm very excited to share, and I'm probably more excited to hear the feedback. Yeah, I don't know what we get on these, you know? I don't know. I think people like it.
I think we'll hear from people that agree with us, and then Tim and the DMs will hear with people that agree with, quote, air quote, Bernie bros.
Yeah. Not used in a negative way. We respect all Bernie bros. And
all Bernies matter.
And gals. All
and look at the progress I've made.
yeah,
incredible.
So what happened today was we started to just crank through our topics, and we had a really long debate about waiting in line and about, let me just get to the point, whether or not Disneyland is worth it.
Yeah. I don't think it was a debate. I think I'm pretty sure that it's
I think it was
not.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
And then, I look, I was trying to have a cliffhanger. Okay, so you can skip the first 20 minutes. And then the real fun part was we got into a real debate about
the Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation, right? People are not going back to offices.
Yep.
Are they lazy? Do they actually have issues that we need to be looking out for and we're doing them a disservice? What's the proper messaging to people, I would say, in this country, right?
Yep.
About how to work and how to get ahead and how to find your spot.
Yeah.
Is the American dream dead?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. We're going to talk about all of it. And I don't need to tell you, Tim is heavily involved in this one.
Wow.
Tim's heated.
And
he took off his shirt in the middle of the episode.
He took off his shirt, started flexing and saying, Bernie bros, Bernie bros.
And you guys already defected mid-episode from Tim.
Yeah.
You guys started as a Bernie bro and left MAGA. Just in this one episode. So anyway, as you can tell, hell of an episode. We also cover a couple news topics that are going on, but buckle up. Make sure you let us know what you think. Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
You know what kind of blows my mind?
Do tell.
It legitimately feels like COVID is over. But what blows my mind is, that's not even what blows my mind.
Okay.
What blows my mind is we here in LA are still pretty locked down.
Well, today's the day.
Today's June 15th.
What changed?
You don't have to wear a mask indoors. Full capacity at restaurants.
But can't private businesses still?
Sure.
So
where does that mean? Because let me tell you this. I was in the elevator for my building today, and they put up a new sign that said masks must be worn in all areas.
Wow. A new sign.
It's new.
Wow. I'm assuming, we talked to Brian about this from the Hwood group. He said that their staff still has to wear masks.
So I was at a diner this morning in the South Bay.
In Maga Beach.
Maga Beach.
Maga Beach, yep.
Yeah.
And the patrons didn't have to wear masks. And people were walking with their mask, do I have to do this? And they were like, nope, you don't, we do.
So if I walk into Target, mask, no mask.
That's Target's discretion.
Ralph's is no mask.
Okay.
Trader Joe's is no mask.
So that means I have to keep my mask in my pocket. I have to see what the sign on the door says.
Yeah, I think you still have to carry a mask.
You have to carry it because I think every establishment can make their own rules.
Yeah. So are we on? And then what's capacity for venues?
Full capacity.
Full capacity.
Completely.
So Bootsy's tonight, Tuesday night. If any of the young bucks have any energy, go look.
Maybe I'll go.
I already told Garrett I'm going. I saw it on the stories, and I was like, I want to go.
Are they
tonight.
posting extravaganza?
They posted full capacity.
No
500
No,
people.
they posted dance party.
Oh.
I think that was the marketing.
It feels like, after a big war, when you claim it's like a victory parade.
Yeah.
I think this week is
You go
victory
dance to
parade. They used to do the ticker tape parades.
Yeah.
Back in the day when the troops would come home to celebrate the win.
I mean, we did win a war, technically.
We won, and everyone else is still fighting it.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is not where we are, with the exception of places like Australia that just didn't let anyone in.
Yes.
So that's different.
And they're probably not vaccinated.
No, I don't think so.
Not
we have a lot of
we are.
Australian listeners. Let us know if you are vaccinated, but
I will say, considering where we were in January, December,
we are
to
hot.
where we are now,
Hot.
Okay, so my complaint is just poorly timed, and we're actually ready to go. Is that how you guys feel?
I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time to let it rip.
Because I was just feeling like the other day I went into a store and it felt weird to even put on a mask, to be honest. And then there was like I went to get like a coffee and it was like, one person at a time. Like it just still felt very like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that will take a little bit of time. I think some business owners will react immediately and just change the policy.
Okay.
But I do believe that really quickly things will change. I mean, we could even just see like, I don't know, the restaurants I go to, they're pretty much full capacity. They've been full capacity. Yeah, sure, there's a table or two missing. They're not squeezing people.
Even indoor?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't eaten outdoor in a month.
Yeah, everything's indoor. I prefer indoor now.
Really?
Yo, we're done with outdoor
I'm done
dining.
with outdoor dining.
Okay.
I prefer indoor.
I want indoor on top of each other.
It's funny, even though like the sushi restaurant that I always go to in the Valley is still like, there's only a few seats indoor. When you walk up to check in, one person in the doorway at a time, clear plastic over the, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think each business will do whatever's comfortable for them, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But, you know, I'm even surprised just in meetings where people come in person and they're wearing a mask. I'm like, mask?
Mask? I still see people driving alone in their car with a mask.
I accidentally
Driving
do that all
alone?
the time.
Really?
No.
Yes, because I'll be walking out of the
Are you
building.
sure they're not an Uber driver and there's someone in the back?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I purposely checked that. Because it now frustrates me. And now I want to like,
Yeah.
Disneyland, full capacity, no mask today.
Yeah.
really.
Yes.
That's
I
a
didn't
good
realize
gauge.
how many families love Disneyland. Every single one of my friends has gone to Disneyland in the last 2 weeks.
Yes. You know, John from Daddy-O was here yesterday and he was saying he went to Disneyland with his family and a group of friends. I'm like, how was it? He goes, it was miserable.
Why?
Why?
Because
kids,
going to Disneyland sucks.
I think you're
It
the only
sucks.
one. Every other parent I
No.
know is
Well,
like so dying to take their kid to
Because
Disneyland.
they're idiots. You do. It's. Let me tell you something. My mother-in-law told me that she
I feel like
planned.
Dom would love Disneyland. Just take him to one section.
We're not going. He'll never see
They
it.
have Star Wars Land.
He'll never even mention that Disneyland exists.
Well,
so
we showed him Nemo this weekend, and now he said, I want to go to Disneyland. I was like, how do you even know what that is?
School.
Is
You're like,
Nemo?
that doesn't exist.
Yeah, maybe some kid in school.
That's
went.
in Florida.
Yeah, that's in Florida.
Florida man.
I'll give you an example. My mother-in-law was telling me a story over the Christmas holidays that she planned a big trip with their entire family. This is when they were kids, like 10 and 13 or whatever years old. And it was to Epcot Center, Disney World in Florida and Orlando. And she said it was an epic disaster. The kids were all mad. And like, you know, just what happens on family trips, they go south.
Yeah.
Family trips go south.
That's
Families,
just a thing. That's just a...
it's just guaranteed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So why am I gonna? And by the way, it's hot as fuck in LA right now. You think I want to take? So Haley took Dominic to the zoo yesterday.
LA
What's
Zoo.
Zoo?
LA Zoo,
That's a hot spot for kids.
literally
That,
hot.
like Burbank? That's over by Burbank?
No,
Griffith Park.
Glendale.
Griffith Park.
Yeah, near Griffith Park.
Sorry, not Glendale.
So
Yeah.
took him to the zoo. She sends me a picture of a line because it was right when it opens, a long line. She gets there and she goes, I'm like, I see them obviously in the afternoon. I was like, how was it? She's like, it's too big. It's hot. You know, like he needed to be in a stroller. She didn't bring the stroller. And the experience was like, 1 hour or hour and a half, I think. They did an hour and a half and said that was enough. And then they came home.
Yeah.
Think about Disneyland. Most people don't live in LA, right? They don't live in Orange County. So you're making this whole trip. What kid can be in a theme park for fucking 10 hours?
So here's my question. How does the business model work? Because everyone's taking their kids.
Yeah, it's the opposite of everything Dee's saying.
Yeah.
It's how it works.
Yeah.
It's just people that are like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's
I'll
miserable.
go get sunburned. My kid will be crying for 10 hours. We'll ride 3 rides and hopefully get a picture with Mickey.
That's
and
it.
that's their whole business.
Yes.
And it
Or
makes however
Frozen.
much it makes a year. Frozen. More
And they were-
updated.
Well, John Daddy-O and his boy was here, and they were showing. They were saying like at the store because I was like, "How was it?" And he was like, "It was really expensive," and he's like, "They sell T-shirts that say stuff like
Sweat my balls off at Disneyland.
something like how expensive Disneyland. All I got was this shirt or whatever,
Yeah.
and then the shirt next to it will be like, oh God, I'm butchering exactly what it was.
But they poke fun at that fact.
They're selling a T-shirt to say how expensive it is.
Oh my God.
And knowing that it's not.
And it's probably an expensive T-shirt.
Yes, it is just a very expensive T-shirt.
Oh my God.
But, you know, I just think people, specifically families, are looking for things to do.
Yeah.
So they'll just suck it up.
Especially because their kids haven't gone anywhere.
Let me tell you, when you go do that with your kid, you let me know how it goes.
This is all I got to say. I always hated Disneyland, and there's this weird thing, like a lot of the people in our office, the young people like to go to Disneyland. They used to get season passes. I never got it.
Yeah.
I always hated it. At the risk of sounding bubbly here, I went one time, I think we talked about it actually, with a group where there's like a private situation where they take you through the back of everything. You get to ride every ride, and I will tell you, very fun.
So
but that's incredible because you're an adult. And you basically get the kid experience, adult, no lines.
Yes, but if you take out, I guess what I'm saying is you take out the lines.
Were kids involved in that?
No. You take out the lines and all that stuff, it's actually really fun. But it's so drowned by all that other stuff. I mean, a person there, if you just go wait in the normal line, no fast pass, no nothing, you're riding 3 rides.
So the way I listened to radio early this morning on the way to Mav's school, and every radio station was talking about Disneyland. I cannot imagine the lines today. I didn't know this was
the
like
record heat.
Yeah,
record
and
heat.
I didn't know that it was just like full capacity Disneyland. Everyone was calling in to radio stations saying like, "I'm on my way to Disneyland."
But why would you knowingly go on a hot day when everyone else is going, knowing it's going to be a miserable experience?
Because you can't help it.
These are the people that wait in line for breakfast. When I see people waiting in line for breakfast, I hate them. I literally hate them.
I didn't realize that was a thing of yours.
Because I'm like...
What about that place, The Griddle, right down the street from your house where people just wait for hours?
I literally hate all those people.
Got it.
I can't imagine waiting for eggs and pancakes when everyone in town is selling
They say it's good pancakes at the
Specifically
Griddle.
breakfast, though? How do you feel about people waiting in line for lunch?
What about In-N-Out? People wait 20 cars for
It's
In-N-Out.
not that long, though. It's fast.
Okay, what about lunch? Is it specifically breakfast that pisses you off?
I think I see breakfast because that's the only time I'm out is in the morning.
Okay.
So
Got it.
it's like people waiting in line for ice cream. Like,
What
are you
about
doing?
people waiting in line
People
at
do that
Access? There's 1,000 people waiting in line at Access.
What about
They're looking to do drugs and party. I can respect that.
Got it. Not pancakes.
Yeah, you're going to get a pancake to get diabetes? You're going to wait in line for an hour?
Well, what are you getting from the drugs and partying?
At least a good time.
Okay.
You might hook up with
Yeah, you
someone.
may get laid. I get waiting in line at a nightclub.
Got it.
I get that all day.
Not pancakes and waffles.
Pancakes and waffles is I am just shocked when I drive down Sunset and I see a line at that waffle place, Roscoe's, Denny's, IHOP.
So I want one other radio experience from the morning. So one was everyone's going to Disneyland.
Yep.
That was very clear.
Am I correct in like when you used to win the Super Bowl and stuff, that's what you would say?
Disneyland,
What are you gonna-
Disney World. Yeah, sure. Epcot Center.
Right? What a weird, like, how did they pull off that marketing?
What?
The guy wins the Super Bowl, you say to him, you just won the Super Bowl, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Go to Disney World? That was
Yeah.
like the thing you said?
Yeah.
Who did, what?
Someone at Disney came up there. Probably one guy said it fluke, and then we should do some history homework.
So did you
on
have
that.
to, did they have to
Jason could
pay?
Google that. Yeah.
Like, was that all free marketing? Because it just became a trend?
Well, I think eventually it became a paid thing.
I don't know. Do you think the players got paid to say that?
I'm sure I'm positive eventually.
They actually all went.
Yeah.
Like the Super Bowl MVPs would be at Disney World the next
bet
day.
Disney
Let me tell
just
you something. They
hosted
got
them.
paid for that. They tell me
I
if I won
wonder.
the Super Bowl, the last place I would show up is Disneyland.
I think it might have become a trend. And then
I'd go
Disney
to
World
Excess. I'd
took
be
care
like,
of them.
I just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I'm going to Excess.
That's what
I'm gonna go
LeBron did.
drugs and
That's actually what LeBron did when they beat the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
in Golden
They
State.
flew down,
they
right?
flew to XS.
Yes,
in
because
Vegas.
that's what normal people do. They don't want to go to Disneyland after you just won the freaking Super Bowl, the NBA title. That's what you want to do? Wait in line at churros?
But think
After
about
you
that
won-
marketing. That is insane.
I get it. They paid for
I don't
that.
think they paid for it.
That's
If I had to place my bet, I don't think they paid for it. I think that they just hosted them at an
That's why
incredible
Bob
experience.
Iger hosted the bubble. He's like, hey, you guys
He's
gave
like, you
us.
know how much you guys gave me?
Yeah. That's why as soon as he was like, get me out of here, I'm going to Excess.
Yeah. We got to do some research on
So
that.
this
What was your
is
other
my
thing?
second radio beef from today.
Yeah.
So we're in LA. It's a heat wave.
Mhm.
So I think it's 100 degrees outside. I have no idea. It's hot as shit.
Hot as shit.
And they said, do not turn on your AC from 4 to 9 p.m.
That's third world.
Because we have like an electrical overload
because
or
we'll
something?
cause power outages.
Blackouts?
Like, why is that our problem?
Yeah, figure that shit out.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me like we're talking about like how to get to Mars and we don't know how to heat cool our current country or current
Bezos
world.
Is about to go to 11-minute journey to space, and we're not allowed to have AC in my building.
I have to believe Elon and Jeff could solve that in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
right? What's going on here? What's the power grid?
I mean, it just shows how everyone pays taxes. This is what the problem is when you start raising taxes.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even keep my AC on.
You give me AC from 4 to 9, I'll pay long-term capital gains.
Well, let's be honest. No one is listening to that.
Of course not. But the fact that I had to hear that made me really angry. I was driving down the 405. I was like, is this fucking real? They're telling people this?
But think about it, on the radio too. Like the radio talking about leave your AC off. Like that's literally like the Stone Age.
Stone Age, yeah. No, because nobody's listening to the radio.
FM radio telling you. Oh my God.
I'm bored.
Okay. I love it. We get a good perspective.
Yeah.
This is what I love about group chat is we didn't even get to topic number 1.
Yeah.
We could literally just pick one topic and probably just chat.
We just talk about our lives and not even talk about the news.
Oh my God.
So look, the topic was, I mean, it looks like New York is on the same page as us.
Yeah.
So that's great. 70% of people had at least one shot of the vaccine. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Good for them, whatever they did.
Yep. It's huge.
And they're pretty much, it looks like, on the same wavelength as we are as far as opening up. So that's that. Then we talk about getting back into the office. We talked about this a lot. We talked about the article, I think, about Apple employees being pissed that they were being asked to go back. It turns out there is this sort of trend where instead of going back into the office for regular hours, people are choosing to quit instead.
So it's called, let me tell you, there's already a phrase.
Bitch assness.
Great resignation.
Oh my God.
That's what's happening.
Where
right
are they
now.
going though?
So surveys
Why are you so confident?
Let me tell you this. This is what the surveys are saying. Survey says 20 from anywhere from 25 to upwards of 40% of workers are thinking about quitting their jobs.
That is such an insane amount.
Yes. And so I've been seeing
so Pete falls in that category.
Yes.
Technically, yeah. Except for he never really left the office.
Who's Pete?
Oh, that was Tim. That was Pete. That was Tim.
So he, for example, they're interviewing a bunch of different people in this article. Cruise ship staffer trained and pivoted to work in a data center. I get that.
I mean, if I'm a cruise ship staffer,
yeah.
See you later.
Restaurant manager left their jobs, started a landscaping company. But the biggest reason is employers are not letting people work from home.
Yeah, I get it. But like, where are you going? Where are all these jobs?
There are now 9.3 million open jobs in America. 9.3 million jobs.
Isn't that the whole thing? Like, we're bringing jobs back to the country.
We brought it back. You motherfuckers don't want to work.
Exactly.
That's something we didn't expect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like every president for the last, 80 years has said, let's bring jobs.
And you know
now we got them.
And you know what's going to happen? Companies like all of ours are going to go find someone in India, someone in Ukraine, someone in Portugal, someone in Hong Kong, and they're just going to take all these jobs. And then 5 years from now, we'll have like a revolution because we have all these young people with no fucking jobs.
I'm so confused, and I don't want to sound like a 50-year-old, but like a boomer.
I saw someone on TikTok called you a boomer.
No, I think
they call me a boomer.
Yeah,
because what I do.
It was something on reference to like the Logan Jake Paul thing.
Yeah, people didn't like that. People didn't like that I argued with the fact that they might not be the smartest people of our generation. It was like, whoa, idiot.
There's some others in the running above Logan and Jake.
Yeah, there's some
Who?
what? Oh,
No,
other. Yeah,
other people that are.
I can't think of anyone else.
Your girl, Amanda Gorman.
yeah. Go ahead. Say she's not.
Say she's not.
I want you to say it. Jad, listen up.
I don't know. Logan's up there.
Okay.
On TikTok, I'm with Logan. that's the guy.
He's a YouTuber. He's
Make
not
it a clip.
Yeah.
But my honest question is like, so am I missing something and offices are whack? Or are we just a bunch of pussies?
Who's we? Don't speak to me.
The Americans.
Yeah.
Young Americans, where you're like, no, I don't want to do that.
So I have two perspectives.
Or am I wrong? Do they all find great jobs or start businesses and I'm wrong and here, make a clip out
They're
of it?
not starting great businesses. I can promise you.
So
the people that don't want to show up to work aren't starting great businesses.
Then you just have this thing of like, okay, so COVID actually just absolutely obliterated motivation in this country. And what do you end up with? A bunch of people without jobs that are also too good to get jobs?
I think partially, yes. I think if it weren't for, I'm curious because I have a kid, so my mornings start and I have a schedule immediately.
Yep.
And I have no choice. I have to go do it. COVID, no COVID, doesn't matter.
Yep.
But I'd imagine if I didn't have that, would you just like
spend the first hour jerking off and then go get coffee?
Go on Netflix.
Go wait for
pancakes. For some waffles.
Yeah.
Maybe go to Disneyland.
Yeah, go to Disneyland, show up to lunch.
Yeah, but I'm saying how would you...
But people were
pay your
getting
bill.
paid. No, people were getting paid during the pandemic,
yeah.
faking the funk, right?
Yes.
Right?
And now reality is hit. And I don't think, like, do we just kill everyone where now they feel entitled to that lifestyle and a salary?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. But here's the thing. We're hearing a lot. The data shows that there is an enormous amount of job openings. And the other data point that we all have is incredibly hard to hire people right now. And it's incredibly hard to retain people. With that being said, we have two interns in here, Jason and Garrett, who are working their ass off.
And they are here in person.
And they're here in person. So I don't know if we found...
flight to quality. I think what's going to happen is going to be a flight to quality of Garrett and Jason, who show up every day now grinding. And they're going to advance in the workforce, whether it's here, they figure out whatever they want to do, but they're going to learn skills and they're going to advance in their careers. But what's going to happen to the other folks that would rather at 10 a.m., be on Roblox or Discord or watch Ninja, and inequality is just going to increase.
But here's my question. Then do those people in 2 years claim unfair?
100%.
100%. They're the Bernie Bros.
No.
I disagree.
No, they're not, and that's
that's
pretty obviously not true.
What are you saying, Jason?
So, I mean, I agree to a degree. I just don't agree that that's the Bernie Bros.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, fine.
But also you're a big Bernie guy.
No, it's not.
I'm not a big Bernie guy.
Either.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm
my
a
views
Bernie
are
Arnault
constantly
guy.
evolving.
What'd you say?
I'm a Bernie Arnault guy.
I'm a Bernie Arnault guy.
Bernard Arnault.
I'm a Bernie Madoff guy.
Bernie Madoff.
Bernie.
I'm a Bernie Madoff bro.
The people who are thinking about quitting are the people who had jobs, not the people who were sitting on Roblox all day. These are the people who had jobs throughout COVID, who probably were the mistreated grocery store workers who don't want to work there anymore.
Let me just interject on one part just to clarify, because I do want to hear your point. What Anand's saying is they had jobs, but working from home and not being managed are the people that we're talking about. They were able to do things like sit on Roblox instead of work.
Instead of working, and they kept their jobs?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who did that.
Well, those are the fake Bernie Bros that are quitting at Apple.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But so then here's my next problem. If you guys are saying that isn't the Bernie Bro, respect the Bernie Bro, okay, fine. But those people, I think, are going to claim Bernie Bro. Yeah. I think they're going to water down your movement.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're going to then jump in and say, yo, yeah, us too. That shit unfair, right, Bernie Bro? And then now there's confusion between who's really had a lack of opportunity and who just didn't want it.
I can agree with that. 100%.
I think there's also a deeper issue beyond like people are just lazy, which is like, mental illness is at an all-time high. Like people don't want to, maybe people weren't working because they're, depressed, because they're anxious. These are like other issues that need to be addressed. Yeah. So I feel like there's like other factors that.
But I think you three are I know,
under.
I don't know where Garrett stands on the Bernie Bro, but you two clearly seem to be Bernie Bros, Jason and Tim.
I don't know about Bernie Bro.
Are you MAGA or Bernie Bro?
you got to choose.
Yeah, there's only two sides.
You're going to clip this and throw me on the...
You're with him, Garrett? So all three are Bernie Bros. But guess what? You show up to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question's not about being a Bernie Bro. It's about, are you willing to show up and work?
This is really interesting, though, because there is just a straight up, it's an age thing, right? We're divided.
So
what's the oldest one of you?
Tim. 23.
Gramps.
23, you're the oldest.
How old are you, Jason?
21.
How old are you, Garrett? 21. Okay.
we're fucked. It's just I think it's a
No, but there's one thing though. Here's the issue,
I'm
right?
old. I literally just
I
realized
think
I'm old.
Bernie Bros,
No,
like,
you're
you know, in terms of 21-year-olds, it's like, do you like Bryce Hall or do you like Josh Richards? It's irrelevant because they're actually just showing up and working. Because my version of a Bernie Bro, which is what I say kind of condescending, is the person that doesn't want to work, wants handouts, and then complains all day.
What? Where do you get that image from?
Who
Who
gave
gave you that caricature?
Tim, we're dealing with that in the workforce right now. This company.
This
we deal with
company's
that.
dealing with Bernie Bros.
No.
Is the issue?
No, they're dealing with
Okay,
people.
that's just like the slogan. It's not.
No, it's not. That's the thing. That shouldn't be the slogan.
That is interesting though, because I do think we're generalizing a little bit. Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this. Is there room? Does there exist a Bernie Bro in a good way? Okay. And also
I don't
a
take
lazy,
offense.
entitled
I think
person.
there are definitely lazy people out there for sure.
Entitled.
I'm not going to deny
Tim,
that. I don't think that those people represent Bernie's movement.
No, but
But
you
do
know
you
what
think there's a lot of them? Do you think
Yeah.
there's a lot of them, or do you think it's a fringe thing? And most people are either sort of disenfranchised or not.
I think there's a lot of underlying factors that aren't being considered. Like I think when you look at someone who is quote unquote lazy, there's a lot of other things to consider about their, like whether they're under $200,000 of debt from college or whether they feel disenfranchised, whether, what caused that.
It's a lot of compassion.
I think it's a matter of like addressing those issues. And those are things that just got kicked under the rug by past generations.
Yeah, and I understand that, but whose responsibility is that? Our responsibility as a business is to employ our staff, generate revenue, generate profits, things like that, right? We are now responsible for the physical and mental health of all of our staff, but God forbid we tell them to do anything, there'll be a petition and we'll be canceled. So it's like,
Do you have a petition?
What?
Do you have a petition in the works?
No, I'm just saying, like, look at
like
Apple.
Apple's going
like,
through
look
it.
at
No, I was
what-
just curious. You said we're dealing with some of it.
I'm saying in my case, it's like if someone is dealing with mental health issues, how am I supposed to handle it as an employer? Okay, we can offer only so much help. I don't know every detail about every single employee that works for us. I don't know what they're going through. We only see what happens at work.
Yeah.
But I have to deal with it if they are going with something.
Yeah, this is interesting.
And no, we're not given any guidance from any organization, any government agency or anything on actually how to handle these things. Sure, there's, we have our HR services that we work with and all those types of things. They're very surface level. So it's a very tough place for employers also because everyone's like, oh, no one cares about people's mental health, but what tools are we given to even deal with that? And there's no we're damned if we do, if we're damned if we don't.
Yeah.
That's really the problem for the employers, which is why you're getting very little sympathy from employers because, where's the petition of Apple employees who go out and say, you know what? We're paid extremely well. Our benefits are incredible. Yo, why don't you guys pipe
Your dog
down?
has fucking health insurance.
Yes.
Is that a
Forget your
fact?
kids.
That's a fact.
I have
Apple, Google, Facebook, your pets are fully insured.
Well, look, that's where we went
incredible.
too far. The day you instated that, you were bound for disaster.
Yeah, so the problem is now it's
That is 100% fact.
okay, but here's the thing: the
Wow.
biggest difference between comparing, so Apple has their issue, Google has their issue with their employees. These are all, and then all of their issues are now seeping into all of other businesses and other industries, right? So here's the thing: Apple gets and Google. I know plenty of Google and Apple employees. They are the top of the fucking crop.
Top of the crop.
Top of the crop.
Yep.
If you got a bunch of, LeBron James in your staff, you want your pet insured? All right, cool. That's not the case for most people. Most people don't get to the top of the top.
Yeah.
So we have to, think about the balancing act there, right? Like we got to offer Apple
Yeah. It's really interesting.
compassion, but we don't get Apple talent.
I also think that part of where the divide is whose responsibility this falls on. Meaning if you have mental health problems or things like that, is that your responsibility? Was it your parents' responsibility? Is it the individual's responsibility? Or is it your job's, the world's responsibility to become a place that takes care of that? And I think the belief, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think it's a difference of belief of whose responsibility that is.
And I'll add to that because I think what Bernie Bros don't understand is capital allocation is a big problem. So you want to keep taxing billionaires, tax billionaires, tax billionaires, tax corporations, but when that is ultimately just going to waste, then what are we doing it for?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll share a story, not going to say names. Someone that we know very well has a friend who is in like the ship making business. Okay? Ship.
Okay. I thought you said ship.
In Florida.
Yeah.
So
I was like, well,
cruises, whatever, pandemic happens, and business is over.
Yeah.
So full-blown panic, like you're screwed.
Yep.
There's not going to be new ships being made because Carnival, everyone's done.
You have a friend that fucking builds ships?
I don't. Friend of a friend.
Okay, got it.
And he told me the story from his buddy that the government made a mandate that all these shipbuilders had to make it for the Marines. And they were just giving them insane contracts. And he had a banner year for ships that were going nowhere.
Yeah.
So the government just subsidized these ship makers that were typically making it for cruise liners and just giving them the business and
lobbying.
So you're talking about wasted money is what you're talking about.
So if you think about that is a waste of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, sure, this business got saved, but it got saved from government subsidies that went to no use.
Well, think about COVID, PPE, all that stuff, COVID testing, PPE, vaccine. How much money has just been squandered?
Yeah, I agree. It's just interesting to me. It's not a debate that is worth having right now, but I think that on some level, the perception shifted. And a way larger majority than what used to, a way larger group than what used to believe now that it is the world or your employer or the government or whatever's responsibility to look out for you on a personal level.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that used to be, like, I think if you go back way further than I know, that mentality wasn't the main mentality.
And I'm okay with progress where employers are a little bit more aware. Employers are taking in consideration the health of their staff. It's just, we can't bear all the burden. People need to be responsible for themselves. We need to hold parents accountable throughout their child's life. Yeah. It's all those things, because sometimes kids are just dealt the wrong fucking set of cards, and that becomes society's burden, right? Like,
I would love the argument from people that are, more pro government subsidies across the board, like the Bernie Warren crowd, to actually outline the waste and say, hey, we wasted this much in these different sectors. And it could have been reallocated to these things. So if that argument was made to me, I would be more open to it.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not.
I think my main complaint, because I'm down for progress and all that too, I think my main complaint is I think that the Bernie Bros, sorry, Tim, but...
Tim just wants to yell and scream.
But on Tim, look, I think that
you
Tim...
motherfucker, you say Bernie Bro one motherfucking time.
But here's my only point. I think that Tim and his...
This incredible politician who started a grassroots movement in politics and formed the first campaign that wasn't funded by super PACs is now the face of people being lazy. It's like...
So that's bad marketing. That's bad marketing by him then.
I think what he did was incredible, because you're right. You have this late 70-year-old Jewish politician from Vermont that crushed it. Yeah. But guess what? He appealed to the laziness of, like, the lowest common denominator, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's all their followers.
No, all the followers.
Yeah.
You're saying he's the Jake Paul of politicians. He just goes for the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to beat ass.
Yeah,
no, look, I'm.
No, but if you campaign saying student debt's done, everyone gets a livable wage, everyone gets free healthcare, is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes, in other countries.
But this country, it's not. You have to understand the politics.
For a country with as successful businesses as we have, we should be able to do that.
No, look, this is my only thing. The only thing that I'm saying is, because I'm down for progress and all that stuff, the only thing that I'm saying that I think where you guys... Tim and your gang go make a small error is that I do think that you welcome in people that are, like, I do think there are people, and there's actually a large number of people that are lazy and entitled. and spoiled and all of those different things. And I think that it's very enticing to call that, to blame that on, whatever, you don't hear me, I don't want to go to the office, it's not fair for me, all that stuff. And it's like, look, the reality is companies have to work out of offices. I think there's a lot of people with mental health problems. I think there's a lot of that should absolutely get the best care. But I just think like there's a group that's like exploiting that almost,
I think it's tough to address this after a global pandemic where people were, forced to be in their homes watching Netflix all day because they got fired. But
nobody was forced to watch Netflix all day. Do you know how many people launched businesses?
They literally said, don't go outside. So like, what are people supposed to do?
That's your choice. Like how you handle a challenge is your choice, right? And we always allow, and we don't actually push society to address the things that are challenging in our life and try to actually be a better person. It's the same problem with our pharmaceutical industry, our healthcare industry. We don't actually want to prevent, we just want to treat. And that's the problem is like, just stay at home. We should as a government should be like, all right, on Monday, we're going to run as a country. And we're going to get outside and do push-ups.
That's why we need The Rock.
Yeah, it's just like, there's...
I actually thought Joe Rogan did a great job during the pandemic. Go out and get vitamin D.
Yeah.
It helps against, helps your immune system.
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you, like not to sound like a douche here, in the last year, which was very tough, very scary, very anxiety-inducing for me, I launched a business. I'm in better shape than I've ever been in my whole life. And I read a record number of books and feel more educated than I ever have because I had nothing else to do but that. And I think I'll look back at this time in my life and say, the only reason why I was able to launch a successful business and do those things is because I had no other options. Yeah. All I could do was focus on moving forward, the only way that I knew how.
I think it's different for people my age who don't have any resources to do something like that with, or that have smaller resources with and might just not be successful. It might take a long time.
Jason, I started 5'4" at your age, and I fought through fucking mud to get here.
We actually poke fun at Pete, but dude, Pete became financially literate during the pandemic.
In the last year.
Yes. Yeah. And like we joke about Doge, but like he went and figured out like how he wanted to play the vol game. Guess what? That's what I did my entire private investing, my entire 20s and 30s. Yeah. I was like, how do I find the highest risk, highest reward investments? And I can do this because I have no wife, no kids, and I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
Pete kind of did the same.
Yeah.
And he learned it in the last year.
Right. Well, so this leads into my point, bigger point, right? So like you spent years on practicing this. You said Pete's become financially literate in a year. Obviously, I know that I listened to your podcast episode on Hurdle the other day, and you mentioned how you went through all these struggles, these ups and downs, and then like right around after you trained for that marathon, it all kind of started getting together.
That was 9 years later.
Yeah, the self-improvement, 9 years later. So in today's world where everybody has access to these things immediately, TikTok, internet, everything's just like hyper, like the word hyper, right? Everything's just right there. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants faster results. And a lot of like the struggles that people go through in their 20s, we're seeing them now, people going through them 15, 16, 17, 18. That's what mental health is so bad. So now you have all these young 20-year-olds who are like figuring it out, but they want faster results and all these other expectations that come with it because of everything that they've been through. But I don't
think, sure, I agree with you, and I think that's all true. Did I cut you off? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Huh?
Did I cut you off?
No, that's all good. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I don't know that that's like an employer's job to solve.
It's not, but then that's also not the employees. They don't care.
It's parents.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's self. Like, where did the encouragement to be self-sufficient go? Like, where did the encouragement of like even Jason? You just slipped into a very dangerous little pothole, which is people like us don't have those resources. We have more. Every person, they're all different, but we have more resources than we ever have in human history.
I would say I misspoke. Let me rephrase that. Mm-hmm. So they do have access to resources, but then they have them more than ever, like immediately in front of them. So like
that's an advantage.
They don't have the motivation to be like, okay, I'm going to go work for this employer who I don't connect with.
That's fine, but if that's fine, look. If this whole purpose of this conversation was around the Great Resignation, people quitting,
right?
If employers can't get people to stay at their jobs, it's the employer's fucking problem. And I'm an employer, right? And that's my problem. I'm happy to deal with it. I will figure that piece out. Simultaneously, the employees that are quitting, that's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? As long as everyone learns how to be self-aware of their situation, I'm okay with it. Yeah. I just don't want the burden to fall back on the employer. If you don't like your situation, I think you should move on. Yeah. I don't believe you should stick out something you don't believe in or don't love. I get that. Right. But don't make that society's burden if you don't figure it out.
Right.
But it's going to be regardless, I think, is the next point.
Yeah.
The next point is regardless, what happens is you're going to have a shit ton of people that are unemployed and pissed off.
Yeah.
Some valid reasons, some not.
Yeah.
And that is society's, that's why it's so tricky.
And the real tricky part about it is you have this moment, and a lot of it's obviously been subsidized because of, large gains in stock market, real estate, crypto, where it's given a lot of financial freedom to a lot of people. Simultaneously have inflation. The cost of everything is going up. And then you have all these people emboldened to just leave because their situation is not perfect. Mm-hmm. That will come to like a crazy crosshair, maybe 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, where all of a sudden like cost of living has gone up substantially. All these people are now unemployed and angry. I was reading an article about inflation in the 60s. I didn't know this. There was fucking protests in the streets by housewives because the cost of milk and food had gone up so much, they couldn't feed their kids. And so I could see that happening again in 18 months.
For sure. I will say the ramifications of the pandemic, lockdowns, and all the things we just experienced, we're just starting to see the beginning of it. Between mental health, between the way people think about structure, between reality of like, you didn't have to show up to work and now all of a sudden people are asking you to show up and you're in your mid-20s, you're like, I'm not showing up.
Yeah.
And then you quit your job and then you go unemployed and then you talk about drugs and opioids and like, I don't even think we've even scratched the surface in addition to the 600,000 people that have died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you're talking about the 600,000 people that have died from COVID.
Yes.
Not the suicides and the overdoses and the domestic violence and all that. It's wild. I don't...
So I think you're like a unique example where you were able to deal with the pandemic and like brought more structure to your business life and health and wellness. But I think you're the outlier.
Yes, but let me just make one point that I mean with all the compassion in the world. You guys know me. I used to chain smoke cigarettes, sleep till 11, live off of Taco Bell. Not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
The most rewarding thing that I did in my entire life was really gain an understanding that I am in control of my own outcome, do things like start reading, working out, all things that you can do no matter what your income level is, and see a reaction from my future to change my present because of my own doing. And understanding that I have that power is the most amazing feeling in the world.
So what motivated you to, or how'd you realize that?
I don't know. I think for me...
He was also surrounded by it, right? You have your cousin, you were around us. It wasn't like you were...
Yeah, but for me too, like I was already like relatively successful. But I was never like a complete like
piece
just do nothing, right? Yeah. I was still working hard. But I think that like I wasn't happy with how I felt. I wasn't happy with my life, even though I was doing okay. And so I went looking for ways to make it better.
Yeah.
And the answer always came back to me.
Yeah.
And so starting to make steps in that way, I noticed a huge change. And like I said, that to me is the best feeling in the world. The worst feeling in the world is feeling like somebody screwed you over and you got the short end of the stick. The best feeling in the world is I have the power to make my own future better. And I just worry that if we get rid of that messaging and people stop believing that fundamentally, and it is all on how you were done wrong, you lose the core of what makes the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point because never in the history of the world has there been access to information for anyone, regardless of where you went to college, where you grew up, where you live in the world, to gain the skills to build financial freedom. Mm-hmm. It's the best opportunity in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Whether it's learning how to code, whether it's learning crypto, whether it's learning any of these things, everyone with internet access, that's 5+ billion people out of 7 billion.
Yeah.
We need to get to 7. We're not at 7.
Yeah.
But we have 5 billion.
Yeah.
Smartphones. So, this is like...
And there's a lot of really great stories just around us. Like if you're a young person, look at Jake Kasdan from Movement. He was a fucking valet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw his 30th birthday. He was posting on his Instagram this weekend.
It wasn't ballet.
It was
a lot
not
of private jets.
private jets and a big ass yacht.
Private jets is the new Uber Black.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gathering on Instagram.
That's part of the problem, though. You know?
Yeah, but I think like
I don't even
But
want to
Jake
go to
came
a
from
fucking
nothing.
It used
office.
to be cool to order Uber
Jake,
Black.
Jake and Kramer,
That
both of them, they came from nothing and they built this massive business.
Well, I wanted to comment on what John was saying about this, like the self-improvement and like that desire of like building your own kind of future and like having that, feeling that empowerment. Personal anecdote, whatever. About a year ago from now, exactly, I went through like a really bad breakup, like really, really bad breakup right into quarantine. And like pretty much all of fall of 2020 was like terrible for me, like absolutely terrible, like no structure whatsoever. Kind of like going to bed at 11, I wasn't chain smoking cigarettes, but like just like not great vibes.
Yeah.
And then, I started just going on this kind of self-improvement kick, started going to the gym every day. And it's kind of this self-improvement thing that I know you went through as well. And then you started seeing more success with that. So I think it's important. That's definitely an important like concept that the youth should strive towards. But again, like when you take a step back and you look at it overall, that's just improving mental health. So when you improve your mental health, then you do end up.
But there's motivated
you did
to
that.
do things.
Huh?
You did that though.
Well, yeah, I did that, but I was at a very low point, and it's kind of like being at that low point. When you bounce back, then it's kind of like that momentum of bouncing back.
All I'm saying is, aren't we learning then that at the end of the day, you have to make the decision to
absolutely.
do it?
Yeah, and I think that's Bernie's like message is that this is a grassroots movement. We need people to take that initiative into their own hands, that they're able to make this difference. And I think that's like I did the same thing throughout the pandemic. Like I read a record number of books. I started a business in Van Nuys. Like there's a lot of things that I was able to accomplish throughout this time. And I'm a Bernie bro. So somehow, despite my political views, I was still successful.
But Bernie's message is that we should punish billionaires. He publicly says that.
Yeah, I think Bernie's message, am I wrong in thinking that we need to be grassroots? We need to all get motivated. We need to all band together to change that.
To change the system that has benefited the 1%.
But don't you think it lacks the messaging?
As a person, you have an 80% chance of making the same amount of money as your parents, which for most of the country is not great. for the amount of people who live, under $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's not very promising. Yeah. So there's these outlier stories of people going from rags to riches, and we can believe in the American dream and rah. That's not the reality of what happens for most people. So how do we make that? How do we make it so that way?
It happens enough where there's enough examples.
It's also not rags to riches. It's like
because we've got iPhones, and that's like a sensational story that sells on
all the
Wall Street
Indians
Journal.
That are the CEO Sundar, Satya from Microsoft. They all came immigrant stories.
Well, let me talk about this. There's hundreds of thousands of stories of like the young lady who was in an abusive relationship in Nebraska and got her priorities in life together and left that, and it was very hard, and started looking out for herself, and now is in a great situation, has a great job that she loves and makes a good income. Like that story is still that story. It doesn't have to be like $0 to $1 billion, right? Like
just to live a great life.
Yeah, like living a great life. The American dream doesn't mean millions of dollars, right? But my fear is that we lose the actual lesson is how do you pull yourself up and make your life better because you have that power. And the fact that you have that power is the most amazing thing about being a human being, right?
Yeah, but let's apply that to the government. Tim. Let's make the government better. Let's create a healthcare system that actually benefits people instead of one that just benefits some people.
Yeah, look, I do think to some degree that does need to be done. I do. I don't want to act like I'm not like so anti-Bernie's message. What I worry is, and this is exactly what leads us back to the start of this story, is that you can also in the same vein say, I was able to live off unemployment and whatever for the last year, not go to work, sleep in, play video games. My boss didn't really ask. I don't want to go back to the office. And the message to those people is get back to the office.
So I think you just pointed out the most important part is that Bernie got half the message right. Yes, we should have healthcare for everyone. Yes, there should be education for everyone. You shouldn't be bankrupt if you have student loans.
Yeah.
Agree with all of those things. But the other half is just wrong. Bezos shouldn't be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Microsoft shouldn't have this much money. Like that part is 100% wrong, and you will build a terrible society if you believe in the second half. If the second half was what Jason just described, low point, self-betterment, read books, learn to acquire skills. Structure. That's the second part of Bernie Bro that doesn't exist.
Yes. But that's the problem with everything is so one or the other. So I think that the Bernie crowd goes super hard on like literally calling out Elon Musk on Twitter, which I think is ridiculous.
Yep.
And then the other side goes super hard on their thing, which is also ridiculous. But there's some merit to the right's thoughts as well. There's no one speaking about a plan that's in the middle. There's no one.
And
You have to piece it together yourself
But
if
there's
you're
no
a
one
relatively...
actually just identifying it the way you guys kind of both described. You're like, it's on me. I have to learn.
Mhm.
I have to like figure out what the structure is, what I need to change in my life in order to make my life better.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's not really anyone, like at least in politics, who has a plan, an actual like applicable plan
No.
that is in the middle. And that's why I think people like me are starting, and I think you guys too to some degree, are starting to almost feel like I don't really fully resonate with either political party.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a lot that the left does that's insane to me, and obviously the right's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So like, where is there anyone having this message of like, let's get back to work?
Do you think a politician that would be like have both views, kind of like very similar to you? Do you think they do well right now? Like, do you think
No,
they'd be
terrible.
No, they
Bloomberg
wouldn't.
got ran out of.
And that's why we don't have.
That's why
Bloomberg
that's
got crushed.
yeah.
And look, I'll tell you this too. We know a lot from our ex-employees or people that work for us maybe now, is sometimes the best thing you can do is go back to the fucking office. Sometimes the best thing you can do, it's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Who wants to go to the goddamn gym, right? But sometimes the best thing you can do is go there. And turns out you were wrong. And on your drive home, you feel better than you ever could have and whatever. And I just worry that sometimes it's like, I don't want to go back to the office. I don't want to. That's actually the best thing you could do is, like Anand said, add some structure back into your life.
Yeah.
Add some social interaction back into your life, a common goal. And that might actually be the best thing for you. But we're encouraging people to not do that.
Yeah.
And the reality is, you know, in this room particularly, we have a bunch of very highly motivated, aggressive self-starters, right? That's not all of society,
Right.
right? Like, I don't need motivation. I have it. Like, I'm going to have it till the day I die. So I don't need to be motivated by anyone. I'm just going to do it myself. I don't expect everyone else to have that. So that structure and goal-oriented culture will help a lot of people. It's amazing to have that.
There's a quote I saw over quarantine that like really made me go to the gym, which was, I don't get motivated to go to the gym. I go to the gym to get motivated.
Sure, 100%.
And I like that kind of like changed working out for me. I was like, okay, like I just have to
You know
go.
what my motivation is?
What?
Heart disease.
No, it's the same.
I don't want to get it.
Get it.
Diabetes, heart disease.
run
I want to
from
live to see my kids
But
get married.
But Jason's point is really important. No one's. I love working out. I probably do something active 5 out of the 7 days a week.
Yep.
Whether it's running a workout class, something.
Yep.
The first 5 minutes suck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But minute 20, 30, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's euphoric.
I mean, it is a fact, and it's talked about in a lot of, let's say, creative circles and stuff like that. The common misconception is that action follows motivation. The actual way that it works is motivation follows action. You have to go act first, and then you feel like, gosh, I'm a runner. I'm a weightlifter. I'm a boxer. I feel so good. And that drive home feels so good, even though the drive there feels like you are literally dying.
Yeah.
And the worst thing we can do is to tell people, I think, in some instances, healthy people, not talking about mental health or any of those things, to tell people it's okay, you should stay home.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
We need people saying, just go, trust me, you'll feel better once you get there.
Yeah.
Okay, next story.
Good luck with your lives, guys.
I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I do think, to Anand's point, a good wrap up is there are decades long, I mean, forever. The course of history is forever altered.
Yes.
From COVID, way beyond how many people died from it and those sort of things. And we're just now starting to see.
And that's, you know, you could, you know, if you want to point blame, it goes back to the politicians who, and unfortunately, it's the left politicians that were so draconian on their fucking lockdowns that, you know, Florida's looking like fucking heroes right now.
Yeah. Texas too.
Texas, Florida, and they're living a different life than we did. And in our own backyard, amongst our own friends, we have friends struggling with serious shit. And it's because of the fucking lockdown.
And look, I'm the first person to say I hate to admit that Florida won this one.
Yeah.
Because I love making fun of Florida.
Yeah.
But facts are facts.
Yeah.
The cases nothing changed. You said you won. You were right.
I mean, the way the quarantine was handled, specifically by Democratic politicians, probably wrong. And we have to be comfortable with that.
Well, yeah. Plus, it looks like this whole thing came from a lab, which we didn't really talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see Jon Stewart?
Yeah, he killed it. He did it. He does a good job at like making a point, but being kind of humorous.
The point is, Jon Stewart is a progressive.
Yeah.
I'd vote for him any day of the week.
No, he went on John Oliver and started saying how, why are we questioning that this virus came from a lab when the name of the lab is Wuhan Coronavirus Lab?
Yeah, he's like, if there was a mysterious, tasty brown treat coming out of Hershey, Michigan, I think we know where it came
He's
from.
like, so we have a lab right where the virus came from called the Wuhan Coronavirus Lab, but we want to say, no, the penguin ate the bat or whatever. But that was Trump's fault, though. The rhetoric that Trump had made everyone make it seem like we're not allowed to talk about it.
Well, you know why the lockdowns had to happen? Because it goes back to our ability as a society that we are not able to self-assess our current situation, and we have to be told what to do. Because if the politicians had some trust in, you know what, you're elderly and you are at risk, you should probably stay home. We couldn't do that as a society.
Yeah, but you know what I wish that, once again, to me, this is treating, not preventing, is I wish that we had more of a culture of releasing the facts and letting people decide. Right. Instead, we don't release facts. We get the facts wrong. Do masks work? Do they not? But just blindly do what we say.
They didn't know.
Trump takes the blame for that, though.
I agree.
I mean, I watched every press conference as well documented in this podcast.
Yeah.
The way he talked about the coronavirus in March and April was completely irresponsible.
He's an idiot. I wish, that's back to my point, though. I wish there was anyone that was, and you're right, they probably wouldn't get elected, but like that was just in the middle. Because there were some things that he had the right instinct shutting down travel from China as early as he did when everyone said that was racist.
And had he just said no masks, or wear masks, wear masks, let's try to keep the economy open.
And shut the country down.
Like that would have worked. That worked in Korea.
And you promise you can't put it right up against like all your other racist shit, so it just doesn't sound racist.
It worked in Korea. It worked in Japan. It worked in Taiwan. It worked in all these places.
Yeah.
You shut the borders down, wear masks.
And in a year later, we would be a healthier society. We would have got vaccinated and would have moved on.
Yeah, and then the vaccine would have rolled out, and this would have we wouldn't have had 600,000 deaths. It probably would have been like a fraction of that.
Yeah.
Okay, story number 2 for the day.
But but it's important to note that despite how much we're shitting on like kind of far left progressive like issues during lockdown, Trump created a lot of it.
100%. No question. And look, at the end of the day, I promise you, I care about everyone deeply. The reason why I'm so frustrated by this is because I actually think a lot of this is we're giving people the wrong messaging. I think telling people it's okay to stay home from work when there is nothing wrong with you is so detrimental to the rest of their lives that I think it's a disservice we're doing to people.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's so frustrating because as the data was coming out, the policies should have been adapting, and it didn't. And in hindsight, it was so obvious. Like, sure, March, April, it should have been draconian. We have no idea what the data is on this stuff. And then as we understand it and who it affects,
you could evolve.
Yes.
Here's the problem in society. It's not cool to evolve your thinking.
No.
And publicly admit, I'm fucking wrong 90% of the time. I'm okay with being wrong. Okay, tell me what to do. All right, let's move forward.
I think you're wrong about the waffle thing. They are delightful and they're worth waiting in line for.
If you catch me,
said, I'll never change my mind.
The evolver here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give myself diabetes in a line. That's not gonna happen.
Fair.
But I think we don't reward evolution of thought. No. Instead, what we do, in 2016, you said this, fuck you. And so why would anyone evolve their thinking if you're going to get called out from the moment you do evolve your thinking?
That's the problem. The problem is I feel like it's naturally a human instinct not to want to change your mind. You want to protect your ideas because that you tie your identity to your ideas,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
That's natural. But when everything gets so polarizing and everyone's just throwing insults back and forth and all your favorite media personalities are in a war against each other, the last thing you want to do is maybe give up some ground.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in that argument with a significant other and you want to say, oh, I probably should have taken out the... You don't ever want to give up an inch.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, well, shit, then they win.
I mean, yeah. And honestly, my wife has taught me a lot of that because we'll have, domestic issues with like trash, food, whatever. And like, I've now learned, fuck, I'm wrong most of the time on this stuff. And it's better just to be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Literally just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Because like early in our relationship, when we had our kid, there was so much going on and I would obviously frustrate her. And I was like, honestly, I don't know what to do. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Do you want me to change the diaper? Cool. Do you want me to do this? Cool. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us just need that in different aspects of our life. Like we need to be guided.
Yeah, but a lot of times now we're to the point where it's like your wife saying, change the diaper, and you'd be like, is this a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Is this QAnon?
Yeah.
Who's behind this? Is there a microchip in that diaper? Okay.
To put a button on that conversation, Tim just said, we just, Drama took a bathroom break real quick. And Tim was saying the conversation that we had is good because there's not a lot of places where you can have that conversation. And we use the example on CNN. There's Rick Santorum, who's the token conservative.
Yep.
And he just gets his ass beat up.
On CNN?
Yeah.
Would they just team up on him?
Yeah.
And why does he do it? He just likes
I mean, sure, he gets paid really well.
Oh, for sure.
And then
Okay.
Fox News has their token liberal that just gets his ass beat.
Yeah.
That's
So-
an interesting career path.
What?
Like the token opposition.
Yeah.
It just comes on to get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, and I was saying, like, Rick Santorum must go home and just yell the craziest shit.
For sure.
Because he
For
just,
sure.
like, can't take it. And the thing is like, here's the thing. If we really think about it, like, specifically more Tim, Jason came out and said he's MAGA in the break.
Yo, I just say that to you.
Jason's a perfect example of society. You have to publicly say you're a Bernie bro.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know what? I don't really like this taxes thing.
I never said I was okay. All right.
No, clear your name. Clear your
Clear your
name.
name. We don't want you to get beat up.
My views are constantly evolving.
Okay.
That's my only statement for today.
Okay.
Okay.
What about that wall?
What about that? How about that Muslim band?
You see my skin color?
But yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing is that like we're allowed to have difference of opinions and not hate each other. And that is such a big challenge for most people.
Yeah.
There are so many friends I interact with quite often that have extremely different opinions on.
Yeah.
And I can go get drunk with them and have a good time and
I
still
think
love
it's
them.
even,
Yeah, this is
you have
fun
to
to
take
me.
it a step further. You can have difference in opinion and actually have discussion.
Yeah. But this is fun to me. Like I if it wasn't for the fact that we're actually trying to make a piece of content here, I probably could keep going for another at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I enjoy the like debate of it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And
Nobody's mad at each other, but yeah, that's not the new norm.
to be fair, every time Tim does talk, I do cringe first, and then Then
you listen.
But then I listen,
And
and
then you
I'll,
say,
I'll
"Oh,
take
Tim."
away a couple pieces, and I'm like, all right, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I appreciate what he's saying.
And then you realize he's a capitalist pig. Too.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he's managing all of his friends.
Yeah.
And this is all just for
He's taking
marketing.
20% off any Bernie bro that comes
This is
through
all
here.
a marketing scam. This is what he tells his artists. Oh, I'm for you. I'm,
Use code group chat on my website.
yeah. Yeah, the truth is in the middle, man.
It
always
is. It's absolutely in the middle. And I don't think we're right or wrong, but we're allowed to all have opinions.
Yeah. Okay, well, look at us, man. Peace on earth right
Yeah.
here in the group chat studios.
Yes, amazing.
Okay, well, on that note, let's try to get through some quick news that's going on in the world other than everything we just talked about. Let's talk about our friends over at Ledger. Big news over at Ledger. I mean, let me tell you what. I don't know if we got in with the Ledger family at a good time or a bad time. Because it seems like ever since we, signed on, there's all these new
Business is booming.
businesses booming.
Booming.
So like, maybe we are a part of that? I'm not sure.
We should take credit.
I agree. Okay, so what we did over at Ledger was we're rolling out buying.
Yeah, so now you can buy crypto through Ledger Live, instant and secure deposits directly on their hardware wallet. It's integrated through something called Wyre, W-Y-R-E,
Okay.
and allows U.S. customers to now purchase through Ledger. And they announced an integration of its first DeFi app called Paraswap, which is now integrated into Ledger Live.
Mm-hmm.
So Ledger's becoming, a real force in crypto. It's pretty exciting.
Good for Ledger, man.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. So this is like, I can just go straight on Ledger, buy my Doge.
Yeah,
Do they have Doge?
we have to find that out.
Okay. So this
Just
means
announced.
So this means I can go straight on Ledger, buy my Bitcoin,
Yes.
my Ethereum.
Yes.
I don't got to go anywhere else.
Another interesting fact on Ethereum I read today is 25% of Ethereum is locked up in thing in like DeFi stuff like staking.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
It's a whole new economy.
I don't even understand staking.
It's basically
I don't.
you're locking up your coins and earning a yield.
And letting people build on the Ethereum blockchain based on what you've locked up. So
you're like a bank? Like you're
basically. That's the beauty
a
of
decentralized, that's DeFi, decentralized finance.
It's like peer-to-peer lending, peer-to-peer finance. So if in the future, these people believe there will be no banks, and when you want money, you can go into this universe.
What if somebody defaulted on your lend?
Yeah, that's
possible.
Risk. Okay, got it. Okay, well, shout out to Ledger. Head on over there and grab yourself some coins.
Yeah.
This is not unauthorized
trading
advice, whatever. Okay, next up, Dr. Dre. Not only did, I just saw Beats by Dre release their own AirPods.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
$149, a little lighter, sweat proof.
No brainer.
Perfect for me.
I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest.
Considering he's a doctor, I thought he would get in there.
Thought he'd be a little more speedy. Maybe he was busy last year. Busy year for doctors. He, on a more serious note, he partnered with LAUSD to open a new high school.
Yep.
In South LA.
So
this is some real stuff here.
Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine are opening a high school with the LAUSD in South LA.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's
and
amazing.
they already have a thing at, what do they have at USC? They have a thing named after
They have the
them.
music school.
Got it.
Named after them. It's pretty cool that Dr. Dre is like pretty passionate about education. The USC, now a high school. And I think the big headline is like really letting students develop their interest and helping them actually focus on it, because the biggest problem with high school today, there's only one path. This is our curriculum. And if you don't fall into this, you're kind of screwed. And then you get bad grades, and then you don't get to go to college, or you don't get the right opportunities, or you lose your confidence. And it creates a whole domino impact on the rest of your life. And now that there's something like this that exists, I mean, this is how school should be. Like, you should be able to develop your interest. If you're into cars, you're into math, if you're into whatever, you should be able to go pursue it. Podcasting.
I agree, man. I think it's incredible. And I think there's another thing that I could probably talk for an hour about, but the fact that the education system is the way that it is insane. And so, I mean, who better to do it than
a doctor?
A certified doctor.
Yeah, someone from the medical establishment coming in and redefining
Teaching
education.
us music.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. Okay. And last but not least, you know, you should teach a podcast school. Freaking Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy. So, listen, we're good.
I think someone listened to this.
I don't mean to pat ourselves on the back, but I don't know if you can hear this. Our instincts are just right.
Yep.
We saw the story that Call Her Daddy was potentially going to sell to Spotify for $20 million. First instinct from all of us was way too low.
Yep.
She's getting robbed. Someone needs to step in here.
Yep.
Turns out they did do a deal with Spotify. Actual price, $60 million plus.
Wow.
So we don't know if it's 60 million, maybe there's some incentives down the road, maybe there's whatever, but 60 million plus deal with Alex Cooper for Call Her Daddy. And it looks like it'll remove it from the Barstool family, which means they caught a bag. And Alex Cooper, I'm sure, caught a bag.
Call her baggy.
Call her baggy. And I just have to mention that, like, man, she had a co-host up until 6 months ago.
I mean,
and you're telling me you have a falling out and you catch a bag?
I mean, 20 million. We don't know how the $60 million is getting split up. Who's getting what? I'm telling, she must have got so much money. So Spotify announced it was the number 5 most listened to podcast on Spotify in 2020. The number 1 podcast on Spotify last year was Joe Rogan. Number 2, TED Talks Daily. Number 3, New York Times. Number 4, it was the New York Times, The Daily, and then the Michelle Obama podcast, then Alex Cooper.
Wait, did you skip group chat? Oh, that was
that's Spotify.
We're global.
Right. She's playing small potatoes.
Don't you think she got underpaid?
What?
The Ringer got $250 million. She's number 5.
Yeah, I'd like to know how much the plus is.
The plus could be rich.
It's still low. I agree. But look, I'm sure
that's
somewhere.
the baseline. In my opinion, The Ringer got paid $250 million.
And not even top 5.
And it's not even exclusive.
And it's not top 5.
And it's not top 5.
Yeah, it's a little fishy.
But Call Her Daddy probably has way more brand extensions. Like, she could launch a seltzer. She can launch
I'm not saying that. Spotify ripped her off. That's all I'm saying.
If those numbers are accurate, it would appear. But look, you got to also think about this. Maybe Spotify is still a minority percentage of overall podcast listens.
Okay.
So maybe her Spotify listens actually aren't that crazy. And they're thinking that right? Would that make sense maybe? Like, whereas The Ringer on all platforms was probably significantly larger.
Probably not. I don't think so.
You just don't like Bill Simmons.
No.
Are you willing to change your mind?
I'm willing to change my mind.
Okay, good.
I'll listen to him if there's someone interesting.
Yeah, I got no good point of why you should change your mind.
He doesn't like LeBron, so I can't.
I don't know, but that's true. If those numbers are right, it seems a little low, but we don't know.
Seems light. And is it annual?
We don't know because it says 60 million plus.
We'll re-up our deal again. Next spot, we're going to get an article that says it's 150 million.
Yeah,
Whoever's listening on the Call Her Daddy team realized 20 was light, said, okay, let's go for 60.
But listen,
now we're telling you, let's go for 100 plus.
But here's the problem with these headlines is Spotify clinches 60 million plus deal with Alex Cooper. We have no idea what they bought.
And
it could be 60 million for 3 years.
Yeah.
Which
could be worth it. It's not indefinitely.
Either way, bags all around. I mean, Alex caught a bag. Barstool is just a bag printing factory. Bag stool. Good for them. Good for podcasts. Good for everyone. Wins all around.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, this is crazy money. 60 million, it's a lot of money. Even if we think she's underpaid, it's still like just putting her in the same bucket as those media properties.
Because I think she's top 5 podcast, period, full stop.
Yeah.
Whether it's Apple, Spotify. Because if you see the way she charts, it's always at the top. So you're thinking how often does she release an episode? I guess I don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, if she's releasing, Bill Simmons is probably every
3
day.
times a week.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to make a point that's going to be annoying, probably especially for the Bernie bros, is this is the type of thing that inspires the hell out of me that I think we need to talk more about. Is we live in a day and age where this young woman could start her own podcast, edit it herself, no resources, did it all herself, and in, I'm guessing, a handful of years, I don't know how long.
I think less than 3.
Exit to Spotify or have some sort of deal with Spotify for $60 million. This young lady in her living room essentially became a media platform tycoon. It could never happen a handful of
What
years
does Bernie think about Alex Cooper?
I don't understand why the Bernie bros would be upset about
Bernie
that.
probably thinks give 30 away.
No, I'm saying it's annoying because I feel like I'm sort of like, I'm going back to the old battle and trying to make my point, but that's so cool.
I'm
sensational. It's worth writing an article about, and
it's worth talking about on our podcast that we would also like to sell for $60 million. If anyone has a checkbook.
It's worth noting.
Is that where your threshold is? What would you sell the podcast?
We'll start having conversations at 60.
Yeah.
Not saying we're going to sell it for 60.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
I want to be clear. I will sell my portion for 60. Okay.
I'm also willing to give up any offers. Just hit me on Instagram.
There you go. DM new guy, if that's how you go about.
At new guy.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
That's all we got time for, man. We did a lot. Okay. That's it. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's a little different. Sometimes you think you're ripping through articles and you're actually headed straight on to a long discussion about Disneyland and a debate about fairness in our country.
Wow.
Welcome to Group Chat. You never know what you'll get. Everyone enjoy. We'll be back Thursday to debate gender inequality.